We're live. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining another Foreman community demo. I'm Nofar, an active developer within the Foreman project, and I'll be hosting the demo today. Now let's get started. So for any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us at the chat here, or you can also use metrics. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And yeah, this is our agenda for today. Let's see, my screen is not refreshing. Yep, now you're able to see the agenda. Great. Yes, so this is our topic for today's demo. We have many topics around foreman-ctl, containerized environments, which is great. Also about a new job application page. We have two foreman user-focused demos from me and Ian. Yeah, that's all for the agenda. Guess we can start. Yeah, so I didn't miss, right? Though she's not here, so let's keep it. Maybe we'll get back to it later if we'll join. Yeah, so first demo for today is by Arvind about foreman-proxy-content.
Yeah, hi everyone. Let me start sharing. Is my screen visible?
Almost. Yeah, now it is. Great.
Okay. So today's topic is standalone content proxy in foreman-ctl. So now we have the functionality of deploying an external proxy, or call it a standalone content proxy in foreman-ctl as well. So by standalone, this means like it is not co-hosted proxy on the foreman server itself. So it is an external proxy that is deployed on a different server and connected back to the main foreman server. I'll share what's new here. So we have a separate command called deploy proxy that is used to deploy the content proxy on a separate machine. We also have one foreman-ctl deploy command that we are using to deploy the foreman server, the main server. So we have now categorized the deployment into two parts. One is deploy and one is deploy proxy. So deploy will have its own flavors like vanilla foreman or Katello and those things. And similarly, deploy proxy will also have the proxy related flavors like content proxy or proxy without content that may come in future. For now, we only have one flavor in that deploy proxy command, which is foreman-proxy-content. With that, we also have the tests which are flavor aware now. So different flavor may require different testing. So we have that strategy in our foreman-ctl repository as well. And with that, we also have the flavor aware health checks and images also. So when you do the foreman-ctl pull images on a proxy machine, it will pull the images that are only required for that proxy deployment, not all the images that are present. Next is how to deploy proxy. So I'll quickly give an overview and then we can go into the details. So we have to have one foreman server, which we can deploy via foreman-ctl deploy command. Then we need to generate our authentication bundle. I'm using authentication bundle because previously it was called certificate bundle in case of foreman installer. As it only contained form certificates in it, but now we also have the auth credentials in our bundle, so we call it authentication bundle. The next step would be to copy those bundle onto the proxy machine so that proxy machine can use that particular bundle in the command to deploy proxy. And you can see that like the example of how you can deploy proxy. So foreman-ctl deploy proxy, and then you need to provide the flavor, which is foreman-proxy-content. And with auth bundle flag, you can provide the path, the absolute path to the bundle itself, and then the foreman FQDN. So you need to provide the fully qualified domain name for the foreman server. This is the flow diagram of how what steps I just described. This is how it looks in the diagram. So on foreman server, we need to run the foreman-ctl deploy, and then For generating the authentication bundle, we have separate commands. So we can run like foreman-ctl auth bundle and then proxy hostname. So it will create those bundle, and what that bundle would contain is all the TLS certificates and keys plus the auth consumer key and secrets as well. The second step would be to copy that to the proxy server. So we can use a SCP tool or anything to copy. And once that is copied to proxy server, we just need to run that command with proper path to that bundle and proper FQDN. Once that is done, our deployment will run and we will have a successful proxy deployed on an external machine. Just a sneak peek into what is inside the authentication bundle. So when you generate any authentication bundle, it is stored at a particular path, which currently is for foreman-ctl certs bundle and the hostname would proxy. So it's a tar archive. If you unarchive that and see what's inside that, so you can see like we have all the certs, the private keys, and also the auth credential inside it. So in case of foreman installer, what we used to do is we used to also pass the foreman proxy auth key and secrets in the foreman installer scenario foreman proxy content. But here with auth keys included in the tar or the authenticator bundle itself, we don't need to pass those parameters. So we just eliminated the need to pass those particular parameters in that in case of deploying the proxy. Once you do all this, so after the deployment successful, what is there on that machine is HTTPD, which is basically the reverse proxy. Then pulp is also there because that is the content part and which mirrors the content from the main foreman server. And then the core smart proxy server that is running on that particular host. We have Volkey. So now previously we used to have Redis, but now it's Volkey. And we have the PostgreSQL as well. So there will be one database for pulp only. There won't be any databases like Foreman or Candlepin because those services are not running on that particular host. If I saw in the UI how it would look, so I have one Foreman server where I added a proxy. So when we register a proxy to the foreman server via foreman-ctl, we have two instances, two records of smart proxies. One is for the core smart proxy feature that is associated with foreman proxy. So like BMCs and the provisioning related services that we have in our case. And another one is pulp proxy, which has the pulp core running. So here you can see 4 records because I have 2 smart proxies. One is co-hosted, which is the quadlet.example.com. That is the co-hosted proxy, which exists on the foreman server itself. And the other one is the pulp one. So if you see pulp one, there is only the pulp core feature. And then you can also see like what service content type we are supporting here. And also you have the support to sync the content and sync that content and use that for proxy registered host directly. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And thanks all for listening. If anyone has any doubts or anything.
Thanks a lot, Arvind. Great demo. Yeah, I don't see any questions. Yeah, but you can always put them on the Google chat here and we'll answer them even after the next topic is done. Okay, so I see Losh has joined. So, yeah, great. My screen sharing, yeah. Okay, screen sharing now is refreshed. Yeah, whenever you're ready. Your topic is about foreman-ctl logging levels.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just try to share my screen. Hope that you can see my terminal. Show my screen. All right, yes, so I have very brief quick review, demo about my 4 PRs that I did for logging in with foreman-ctl. So basically, what we have right now are 4 new parameters for setting log levels. The first one, the main one, is called log level, which basically what it does is that sets the default log for all services when you run, for example, on the first time, or when you're configuring your foreman-ctl. And as usual, you can set like debug, info warn, error, and fatal, right? But then we also added additional parameters for every service. I'm saying not every is implemented yet, but I hope that one day it will be. For now, we have log levels for foreman, for foreman proxy log level, for pulp, and we also have log levels for Volkai. So basically what you can do is with these parameters, you can easily set, for example, debug or verbose log level for Volkai and still keep your foreman on the default, I think it's info level. So your log services and everything is not polluted with, the rubbish, and you can basically really tune the level per the service. And once you did that, the parameters are of course persisted, so that stays, over the reboot and everything. And if you then, let's say, want to check the logs, you can, let's say, list services, list units, I think. Foreman, we'll see. Oh, yes. So for example, here we have, foreman proxy service. So I can just do super easily journal ctl follow and unit, and I have foreman proxy logs. And if I will be pinging proxy or basically do any kind of connections, I will see in the journal all the logs messages. The same goes if I want to check the pulp. I have quite a lot of services. There are quite few workers. There is API content image service. So let's say we will go just with pulp and Mars question mark. Sorry, star, or what's the name of the character? But basically, right now I'm getting all the log messages for all the pulp services, and I can start happily debugging. And the last thing is that we have the pulp, we have Volky, foreman, and foreman proxy. If needed, we will add Candlepin and some others. We were thinking that we could also introduce log levels for Postgres database, but that's for now out of the table, or it's not like critical priority. The other follow-up PRs that I'm going to work on is going to be about setting different logs for foreman service. So users can enable, for example, SQL logging, when they will really hit some issue and they really want to see what's going on with the database. For now, this is not possible. By default, the logs are configured as we pass them with from the repository. So that's all from my side. And Lukasz, I see you wanted to enable LDAP logger and didn't find out how. Yes, you cannot do that right now. It will be. There will be parameter. There will be, easy option how to do it. But right now, you cannot do that. It's in the plan. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Lars. Okay, so our next demo with Candlepin logs to journal via stdout by Alan.
Thank you. So I'll share my screen. So hope my screen is visible. So hi everyone, I'm Alan. So I'll be walking through PR625. So it routes Candlepin logs to journal data via stdout. So what was the problem? So in current foreman-ctl deployment, so while deploying Candlepin as containers, all the logs are written into log files of that particular host. But this breaks the traditional container flow, right? So in containerized flow, we are expecting containers to log, to redirect their logs to stdout, which in turn is redirected by the container runtime. In our case, it's foreman to the host journal D. So this was the this was the changes that we brought in to our PR. So our main focus was to redirect file level logging to stdout or stdr. So let's see the changes that we have made here. Okay. In Java, there are like two levels of logging. So one is Java util logging. So it's the JUL. That's the inbuilt part in JDK. So their logging is configured via handlers. So handlers are basically nothing but objects that decides where our log should be. So there are two types of handlers: file handlers and console handlers. So all these properties should be defined in a file called logging.properties. So this is applicable for Tomcat. Tomcat is a servlet in Java. So and so these properties can be set in logging.property file, and also we can set the log level and many other features in logging.properties. So we have to edit that file for Tomcat. Earlier it was file-based logging. So the console handlers used were file handlers. We have to change from file handlers to console handlers. And the next thing is for and the next logging library is logback, which is a third-party library. It's not part of JDK, and this was in turn used by Candlepin. So all those configurations are written in a file called logback.xml. And instead of handlers, we have another object called appenders. So logback uses appenders. Appenders are also like objects which redirect logs to different streams. So we have similar to handlers, we have file appenders and console appenders. So for us to change redirection of logs from file to we have to use console appenders. So we have to edit logback.xml file for Candlepin to log these changes to the console instead of file. And the third one is access logval. So this is not a part of a log. This is not like a logging library. It's just it's associated with Tomcat, and basically it controls or logging of HTTP requests that have been hit. So usually it redirects HTTP request logs to a file under /var/log/Candlepin. So Tomcat. So here we'll have to edit its configuration so it redirects all the logs to standard out, stdout. So let's see the code changes. Yeah. So first is we have, so there were in our playbook file, so we were creating directories for storing logs /log/Candlepin and Tomcat. So we have to remove that. We don't have to create log directories because we are using standard out or standard error for our logs. So we'll remove that. And the next thing is for Tomcat. For Candlepin, we'll have to edit the logback.xml file, and we'll use the console appender instead of file appender. So that is there. And the next thing is for Candlepin, for Tomcat also we'll have to edit the logging.properties file to redirect our logs from file to stdout. So for that we have to use console handler instead of file handlers. So these two files are created, and then we have the access logval. So here instead of redirecting to file, we are redirecting it to file descriptors, which in turn redirects to stdout. So we have to mount these in our containers, right? These properties should be attached. These files should be attached to our containers so that Tomcat or Candlepin services can access these files and follow this configuration. So for that, we are creating secrets. So these files are stored as secrets in format. So we have created secrets here. And once the secrets are created, we'll be mounting it to our host, like containers. As you can see, So logging.properties is mounted in this path, and logback.xml is mounted here. So these are the code changes, and like I have a local VM running with foreman-ctl installed. So I'll just show a small demo quickly. So I'm putting a curl request here to Candlepin. So okay. Now let's see the journal.ctl. Can see that, yeah, it was all the logs were redirected to journal.ctl, and let's see if any files are created here. So you can see there are no Tomcat directories created. Yeah. And yeah, that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to the demo. If you have any questions, you can follow.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Alan. Yeah, I don't see any questions. So we can move on to our next demo, but still, again, feel free to ask questions. We'll get back to you. Yeah, next demo is from Karolína about Leapp pre-upgrade report section in the new job invocation page.
So hello everyone. Today I'd like to show you the new Leapp preupgrade report section in the foreman-Leapp plugin. It displays results after running a Leapp preupgrade check on a host, and then it tells you what issues Leapp found, what's blocking the upgrade, etc. It's redesigned a little bit, so let me quickly walk you through what changed. On the right side, you can see the new one that now appears directly as a collapsive section. The legacy one that you can see on the left was living in a separate tab. The old version used a patternfly 3 list view. This is now a patternfly 5 table. Each row expands to show the summary, text, documentation links, remediation comments or hints, and you can expand them all at once. That's new. Search now uses Foreman's standard search bar with autocomplete with the same search syntax as everywhere else in Satellite. So you don't need to use anything else, any new syntax. And there are also bookmarks in it. Select all shows you how many rows are fixable. And the actions stay the same. It's overall a little bit quicker, and it looks more similar to the rest of the page and rest of the product. In the future, I'll probably also make a demo summarizing the whole new job invocation page, because I only made one short one in the beginning of its creation. And that's it from me for today. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Our next demo is from Shimon about foreman-rake wrapper in containerized installation.
Hello, so let me share my screen. Okay, so while working on the foreman control and the containerization, we understood that we still have to support foreman-rake commands. So we had to create some sort of a way to run foreman-rake commands through, although foreman runs in a container. So what I did, I have created the wrapper. This is the wrapper that is installed on the machine into user as bin. And that wrapper basically, so first of all, that wrapper assumes that the foreman container is up and running, and it forwards the requests into the container under the hood. So I can show that live. So I am on the machine that has foreman services running. And we can do foreman-rake. So for example, you have to be a root to run that, since the services are running as root. And here we are. We have the full console for the environment. There is also another thing. We are not allowing all the commands to pass. So if I want to just run an arbitrary command, it will not pass. And there is only a small list of commands that are available for running, but we have a way to override it. So if I would allow unsupported parameter, then I can actually run any rake command. So in case we have forgotten to add, by the way, the list is maintained inside the foreman-rake script. So these are the commands that are currently available and will run by default. If there are commands that are not on this list, there is always an option to run them with allow unsupported, but we can't promise that it will run as you would expect them to. So that's the caveat of the command. And this is the PR. That's pretty straightforward. So yeah, that's pretty much it what I had.
Hey, Jeremy, go ahead.
Hey, so I noticed the Foreman RH Cloud, the inventory report generate did not make it into the list of allowed rake commands, and I saw the other day that it was because there was some difficulty in saving the report file, and you would have to go into the container to get it.
Yes.
Do you know what the solution is for that, and is there something planned?
So specifically for RH Cloud generate report, you can generate the reports from the UI. If you only want to download the report, that's quite a problem. We don't have a good solution for that right now. Possible solution is to write the report into stdout and then redirecting the stdout to the host. So that's a possible solution. We didn't explore it for now, and yes, that was one of the reasons we couldn't allow the generate command. But specifically for reports, you can generate them from the UI, and you have the download button, so you can download them from the server directly. So to some degree, it's covered.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I don't see any more questions. Thanks a lot, Shim. We can move on to our next demo, the last demo for today, for the foreman area. So from Pavan, Capsule content tab, not showing synced content count and page.
Yeah, sure. Let me share my screen. Yeah, hello everyone. Today Vijay and I will be doing a demo on the fix for this particular bug. So basically the capsule content tab in the smart proxies page has a split architecture. The sync button and the progress bar are in Angular, while the content tables for environments, content views, and package counts are in React. So after clicking the synchronize capsule, or other buttons. So the sync would complete, but the React tables wouldn't update. So the user had to manually reload the page to see the new or the updated data. So I'll be first showing the code changes for this fix. So here the fix was to bridge Angular and React via DOM events. So we have this particular method. So since Angular controller cannot import React modules, so when the sync starts, it fires a custom event on the window. So this will notify the React side that it has been updated. So for this, we have a custom React hook called use smart proxy content refresh. So this hook listens to the Katello capsule content task DOM event to learn when the task starts, and then it polls the task using Foreman's existing start polling infrastructure. And then once the sync task completes, so it kicks off the search for any pending update content counts task. So, and once again, once the like update content counts task gets completed, it refreshes the table data immediately by calling by the through the callback function. So the user doesn't have to again reload the page. So automatically it would reflect the updated counts in the table. So now Vijay would show this demo on the web UI. So over to you, Vijay.
Yeah, thanks, Pavan. Let me share the screen. I hope my screen is visible. Yes. Okay, so I will take you to the view from the fixed version of this issue. Right now, we don't have the reproducer with us due to some technical problem. We are like demoing this on the fixed environment. So yeah, we have this smart proxy, and earlier we used to go over the capsule content page after the refresh, and we had to refresh the page manually. After the fix, we no need to like perform that action. So I will show you what the content we have. So we have the lifecycle environment, LCE, community demo. We have the content view, which I created for the demo purpose, and that is not yet published on any of the lifecycle environment. Um, Here are two repositories. Basically, both are not at sync. I would like to show you how the sync work when we sync the capsule content. For the content view, there is warning sign which get updated on the page automatically, and when we sync the repository, the package like the content count, like RPM count, and the package count gets updated on the capsule sync content tab. After the sync smart proxy and the update content count, foreman task gets finished. So yeah, let's go to the infrastructure smart proxy. So we have the smart proxy, which does not have anything here. So if we do the sync, yeah. So last sync has finished, but we cannot see anything at the content view on this page because we did not publish it to the particular lifecycle environment. So I will publish it, lifecycle environment community demo. After that, we are supposed to get the display the information. Yeah. So earlier, we need to refresh the page. Even we navigate to the particular like content tab. So here we can see this sync warning sign, like the success sign get display over here, but we cannot see the packages and the additional content. For that, we need to go to the sync status. We have the new animal and the this rel10, sorry, the client repository, and yeah, so those will be synced. And okay, the smart proxy page. Yeah. Okay, so here we cannot see because we have not promoted to the content with the version 2. So I will show you. I will just promote this content view to the this version 2 publish, and then okay, it should get updated on the page. Okay, I don't think why it is not. Yeah. So right now, yeah, here the content and the package count get display along with the warning thing. So that is the change we have implemented, and this got updated after the update content count and the sync. What was that? Sync smart proxy task get finishes. So yeah, that is the thing. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Pavan and Vijay, for the demo. Okay, now we're moving to our second section of the demo, the developer-focused demos. Yeah, we have two. The first one is from Ian about Katello PQC certificate testing.
Cool. Thanks, Nofar. I've got a tiny thing to share. Oh, give me a sec. Sorry, I forgot that my my sharing setup today is broken because Firefox decided it doesn't like working with Google Meet anymore. So I had to break out Google Chrome, which I haven't used in like 10 years. So give me 1 second. But anyway, while I'm getting that set up, so I've been doing a bit of very early exploratory testing with post-quantum cryptography certificates. Because with the way the future is going, we want to make sure that these certificates are compatible with our project in all means. We want to make sure that we support a hybrid setup so we can talk to clients who aren't ready to use these new algorithms yet. And so I'm just going to discuss what I tested and some of the issues I found as I'm loading up these pages from my Firefox over to Chrome. Okay, so the general setup I have, and I'm just showing these issues on here so I have something, so it's not a blank screen. I set up a satellite instance, essentially foreman Katello, with, and not just any setup, it's a containerized one. And I replaced the certificates after deploying it with MLDSA certificates, which are post-quantum cryptography algorithms. And I ran some tests to see what would happen. Many functionalities were working perfectly fine, which was awesome. But there were some major things that I found out that do need fixing. And actually, they're being fixed right now. The workflow that I was most interested in at the time was that I could have Candlepin send MLDSA entitlement certificates to hosts. And that worked. The hosts were then able to consume content that was hosted by Katello using these PQC certificates. So that was a big win. There weren't many changes needed other than I needed foreman-ctl to deploy these PQC certificates, which we'll do at some point. But I just did some dirty hacks there to get it to at least populate these certificates. Now, there were a couple of other places that did not work. One of the major places that we were looking into was relating to importing manifests. So manifests coming from Red Hat, they give you access to Red Hat repositories. They have RSA certificates inside of them. And there was a signature conflict because there was an RSA cert, but we were expecting in our configuration PQC certificates. And that's just what I'm showing on the screen here. There's a couple of issues that came up that have been merged that are ready for testing again. But in Candlepin, there is this idea of a legacy scheme along with other schemes that you can define. So you can define schemes, you can give them a label, and then tie them to certificates. So your Candlepin is, at that point, supports like whatever algorithms your certificates in there use. But the problem here was that the legacy scheme wasn't being fallen back to, which is what these issues here are there to fix. And frankly, for something that we thought would be broken all over the project, this is small, I would say. We did have another issue which relates to this one over here. And this is actually a very old one. When using the debug certificate, for folks who are familiar with that, the debug certificate, just for a review, is something you can export and use to get pulp content without having to actually get an entitlement certificate as a registered client. And the PQC certificate, when trying to access pulp content, was overflowing a max header size field. And I believe it's because if you compare a PQC certificate with like a normal RSA one, in my case, the PQC cert was MLDSA, it's literally quite longer. And I think that length of the cert was causing an overflow. And we actually have an old issue here about, and AIO HTTP was a library in pulp that was reporting this overflow. And funny enough, we had a patch, as mentioned here, in Katello for some years to deal with this, but then the patch was dropped when we updated to a new version of AIO HTTP. So we need to investigate how we can configure this from the Katello side, if we can. And then, other than those two large issues, there really wasn't anything else very big that we detected, which was very exciting. the only other small things popped up, like you need a quite new version of your browser to even support these certificates. For example, if you're using Google Chrome, you need 150 plus, which is, I think, relatively new. And I actually didn't see a version of Firefox that supported MLDSA yet. So just a bit of a report on something that we're working on for the future, since all these projects seem to be going in this direction of supporting post-quantum crypto certs. So yeah, if anyone's interested in that, yeah, stay tuned for more updates in the future. Yeah, happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thanks a lot again. Yeah, no questions so far. Maybe we'll have more later. Yeah, okay. So we can move on. Sorry, I skipped my slide. Yeah, we can move on to our really last topic for today. Research approaches for cross-repository context discovery for AI and human use. Yeah, I'll be doing the demo. So let me first of all introduce the problem. Yeah, this is from our JIRA ticket. Wait, now I was trying to have it on to zoom in a little, but I don't know why my zoom is not working. Okay. Never mind. Okay, okay, this is readable. Okay, so what I wanted to do is to bring it to your attention that all foreman teams actually was working on agentic AI tasks, and one of them was this one. So what we're doing is we are using basically AI or with ways to improve foreman in all sorts of areas. So for this topic, it was kind of investigation how we can improve our AI usage by introducing a better, let's say, workflows for AI in terms of that Foreman has many different repos across, well, you know, we have the plugins, we have Foreman Core, we have Smart Proxy, etc. And it can be sometimes confusing, not only for AI, also for humans, to find the right places in the code to look for, because the dependency can be sometimes very high. For example, let's take the foreman-ansible plugin, which uses Foreman remote execution. Obviously, it uses Smart Proxy, Foreman Core, etc. So it can be sometimes kind of hard to understand what's going on, to navigate between all these repos. Basically, this is the problem. And you can see here, for example, in the open questions, so one of the suggestions was monorepo. Maybe monorepo will resolve this problem. We'll have all Foreman code in just one place. Yeah, so let me share the research brief, and then we'll have the research findings. Okay, so I'll try to keep it short. The research brief was just a way to organize all of my thoughts, basically, all the things that can be covered. So for this scope, I only used some of the repos. Obviously, I didn't go through all of them. So as I mentioned before, I took Smart Proxy, remote execution, Ansible, and also foreman-rake cloud, because it has some specific files and things that was unique to it. So I wanted to use it, but obviously I could use any other repos. Yeah, so that was the scope. The problem statement is that, for example, here for contributors and AI agents, often can be hard to understand the context of a single local repo, as I mentioned before. So this missing context can lead to bad code changes, weak PR reviews, difficulty to find extension points, etc. You can see here in the questions, for example, again, I'll mention the monorepo. Does a monorepo solve some of these issues, the problem, or maybe it just makes us to work even harder and not justify its costs, because changing the whole architecture of Foreman can be very expensive, as you can imagine. What else here I wanted to bring up? Mostly the approaches to compare. So we have 4 approaches, which I'll cover later. First one, status quo plus targeted improvements. Supposed to be like the simplest solution, just to update the README files, the MD files, just to clean up a little bit the repos. The question is it enough? The second one is the centralized canonical context with reference, which is a bit more expensive, but that way we'll have one organized place to have all of our context. I don't know if you can call it that way. It would be enough. The third one is the monorepo, which later evolved into, instead of just having one big repo for everything, suggestion that came up is maybe to divide Foreman into 4 different groups of repos, which I'll show later. And the last one is the hybrid model, which basically combines between these options. Yeah, and of course we have to remember that we were limited on time, right? And we don't want to rewrite the whole Foreman code from the beginning. So we still need to find like the best solution. Okay, I'll move on to the research finding. We have the executive summary, basically explains again the repos that we used, and gives us the final finding that the current model, like Foreman, has a strong runtime coupling but weak local context, which I guess we knew because not all repos are updated. We don't have like a solution that was implemented across all repos. Yeah, which made it sometimes hard for humans and also AI agents. It's funny to call us humans. But yeah, you can see here it affects both of us. But we assume that it affects AI workflows even more, unless you're really aware of it and you tell your AI agent exactly where to look for the solution. What else I wanted to bring up? Yeah, so here we are talking again about the repository consolidation. It remains a meaningful structure alternative, so we can bond models like foreman and plugins, and then we have the smart proxy and plugins. We'll have foreman and plugin, hammer and plugins, and lastly foreman CTL. So this is just one way we can divide foreman repos. What else? Yeah, I don't want to go through all the details because it's very long, as you can see. Let me find the compressions, yeah, for approaches. Yeah, so again, these are the options. And here it's more detailed with benefits, drawbacks, and basically I think score is the easiest to understand. Option B again is the centralized canonical context with reference. As we mentioned, here you can see the AI effectiveness is a little bit higher. Here the repository consolidation or monorepo model, again, for repository models we mentioned. But still, let's go to the score. So AI effectiveness is high, but also it's kind of hard to maintain it, and to implement it, it's going to cost us more than just update it the README files and the empty files, agents files. Yeah, because it requires to restructure foreman basically. Yeah, and I think like my favorite, and also my AI agent agreed with me that the best option we had is the hybrid model, because basically we can combine between all these options and take like the advantages of each one of them and use them. Yeah, and that was like pretty much try to summarize everything I did for this research. So if you're interested in more details, I mentioned the JIRA ticket here. You can take a look for more details. Yeah, and I think after the research is finally over, we can publish the conclusion and what is our plan for the future with the community, and start working on it. Yeah, and if anyone has any thoughts about it, questions or improvements, feel free to reach out. Yeah, and say it was very interesting to work on it and think about the whole structure of foreman and how it can be better. Yeah, that was all for me. I don't see any questions, so let me go back to the slides. Yeah, so our next demo is in 4 weeks, as usual, on August 27th. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for the great demos today. Yeah, no questions, so I think we can we can wrap this up. Thank you everyone. See you next time.